Hey everyone, welcome back to Coding with Corgi. Today we'll just be talking a little bit more about what a class header looks like and what a method header looks like, as well as how to call methods. In general, everything in Java is in a class, and you'll be using tons of methods to call each other and to make things work and make things run. So first, if we look at the class header template, everyone starts with public and class. And then you have a blank. This blank is whatever the class's name is. And then you have the curly brackets, blah, blah, blah. Now, with the class name, you'll see in our example right here, we've got one class. And as you can see, there is the class word. So remember the template, class template, class header template. It starts with public, class, and then the class name, followed by a curly bracket. So in this case, what is the class's name? It comes after the word class. So it comes after this word class. And we see that word class right here. So think about it, and what is this class's name? Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is the static method template. So going back here, I'm just going to write the static method template right here. And all the static method templates start with public static. The next blank that comes up is actually the output data type. Then the next thing that comes up is the method name. And then we got parentheses. And inside these parentheses, you have two things. You have the input variable name, or the variable data type. And then you have the input variable name. And you can have as many of these as you need, depending on how many variables are in the input. But for now, I want you to look at the places where we have the static method template. And the static method template, you'll see there's actually two methods here. I'm going to go ahead and circle these in yellow. You have one on line 3, and you have one on line 9. How do I know that these are both methods? Well, I simply look for this static method template. I see both start with public static. Then we need to figure out the output data type. So if you look here, what is this output data type? You know it comes after the word static. So if you look at our examples in line 3 and in line 9, what is the output data type? And then, what is the method name? We know the method name comes before the parentheses. So where do you see the parentheses? And what is the method name? There are two method names. Last but not least, we've got the input variable type. So anything that you input are called parameters. So parameters are they're similar to the input. They're used interchangeably, but programmers really like to call them inputs. Most programmers like to call them parameters rather than inputs, which is a great way to think about it. These are music notes. You can think of it as parameters, parentheses, because the parameters go inside the parentheses. The inputs go inside the parentheses. Okay, so looking at our parentheses right here and here, what is the input variable data type? And what is the input variable name, otherwise known as parameter data type and parameter name? So I'll be using parameters more and more often, so you should get used to that. But if you say inputs, that's also fine as well. Okay, now that we've got all that, the last thing I want to do is how do you call a method? So to call a method, first, to call a method, you need to do a few things. One, you need to look inside the main method's curly brackets. So it needs to be inside the main method's curly brackets. Well, as we said, there are two methods here. Which one is the main method? Which one is the method called main? Now, inside the main method, you need to do two things. The first thing you need to write is your method name. Then, inside the parentheses, and then don't forget the semicolon at the end, you need to have an input example. So, where have I called a method? I know it's going to be inside the main method. I'm going to write this in yellow. I know it's going to be inside the main method. So I need to find which one of these is the main method. And then I need to look inside the curly brackets. So I see there's curly brackets here and curly brackets here. So there are only so many places that have curly brackets. Which one's the main method? And where do you find the method name? Once you find that, you'll notice that the input example is a real integer. So you need to have a real example. This needs to be real. It can't be some word like the number 2 or int. So be sure to do that when you're calling a method. And that's all. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Bye.